Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Henderson, and I am a Business Central consultant, previously a GP consultant, still do a little bit of it. But I'm going to talk to you today about the general journal window inside of BC. So you're going to see where this particular video is coming from. It's been almost a year since I've done a video. I cannot believe that. It's been way too long. However, I am going to speak with Stephen Chensky tomorrow, so I can't wait. We're going to talk about fixed assets. So let's dive into the Business Central General Journal window, and we're going to do some comparisons. So over here, we're in Business Central. And the window that I'm going to talk about specifically is the General Journal window. So when I first started doing Business Central, I was not understanding this window at all. And now it is one of my favorite windows in the entire system. I think it's almost also one of the most confusing windows in the entire system for a lot of people to get. I do explain it a lot. So I'm doing this video because, like I said, it's so valuable, but it's also a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you the windows inside of Dynamics GP that this window is actually replacing. So if you take a look at GP, there is a bank transactions window. There's a transaction entry window, like a general journal window. You have payables, receivables, cash receipts. All of these different windows are actually inside of Business Central, but only two. Actually, it's one window with two different views. So I'm going to go back over and I'm going to explain the different views of this particular window. And like I said, it's one of my favorite features in Business Central. And I think this video will help a lot of people understand how to better use this window. So I am just in the finance area under general journals, and I'm just going to go into this test. I call it a batch, but it's not really a batch. I feel like it's more of a template, because you always have to be really careful. If you post in that batch area, it's going to actually post everything that's in there. So you may be posting things that you don't want to post that is somebody else's batch. A lot of times I will name it the different people who work there so that they can make sure they, are in their batch and they're only posting the transactions within their batch. So now we're in this window, and what we're seeing in this window, this is what I call the show more and show fewer columns. So that's why I said the general journal, show more, show less. So what this window does, so this is one window inside of Business Central. If I say show fewer columns, it is my journal entry window in BC. That's the best way that I can compare that. So all you're doing, of course, is entering your account number. You're choosing if you have dimensions. I have 2 dimensions in this particular environment. So you would choose your dimensions here. And then, of course, you can overwrite your description, and that's a slider button. If you don't want it to bring in that particular description, that's more like a reference. And then, of course, you can do your debit and credit amount. And don't forget that, you can personalize this window any way that you want so that you can have the fields in the order that you like. I leave my account number with my dimensions just because I feel like a lot of people coming from the GP space, when they get in here, they're more used to seeing the entire string, the account string. So this kind of helps them get used to that. But you'll see here now that I have entered the debit amount in there. I'm just going to hit F8 so that I can copy what's above in the cell above. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put the credit amount in. And when you see me put that credit amount in, you'll notice that my amount field is a negative. So I do tell people, if you're comfortable with positive and negatives, then you can do positive negatives and not have a debit and credit column. Or if you're not and you're used to debits and credit like most of us accountants, then you would basically use your debits and credits. So this is more of a 2-lined journal entry. So show fewer columns. I make it as clean as possible. And so this is what it looks like in this particular window. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this out of here because I want to not have it in my other view. So now if I come in and I go to show more columns, this is I used to call it the one-sided journal entry. It's technically not a journal entry, I would say. I mean, you can, but I think of it more as those transaction entry windows. So if I'm going to affect my bank account in this window, this would be where we're talking about the bank transactions window inside of GP. So if I choose bank account here, then what I can do is it will change and it will show me my bank accounts in this window. So that's my account number is now my bank account. Of course, I still have my dimensions. I can then, of course, again, have a description. So maybe this was a deposit. And then if I can spell deposit right, so that's a deposit. And so then here, what I would be doing is maybe it's a non-AR cash receipt, something like that. And I could say, it's $50. So I would put in the $50 and then I need to choose the balancing account type. So again, this would be the other side of the journal entry. And for this, I'll just kind of put it to some kind of income account, just because if it's a non-AR cash receipt. So what I have done is I've now affected my bank account one time, and then I've affected my general ledger. If you've ever had where you've gotten your bank account out of balance, maybe the book balance has, gotten off, you can also do the journal entry here to your bank account, and then you can offset it with whatever posting account that's associated with that bank account. So again, a lot of times I'm always previewing posting. All of my customers know I teach them this. So then I could go in, I could preview it. I see that it's affecting my general ledger. And then I can also see that it's affecting the bank ledger there too. So another transaction that I'm just going to throw in is maybe a vendor payment. So if I change this to vendor, now I'm going to be able to see my vendors as the account number. So this I would call the payables transaction entry window inside of GP. So now I've chosen my vendor and I'm just going to put, I'm going to pry a printer. And then what I would do is I would have to put a negative here because this is an invoice. So I would do a negative, and then on this side, this is where I would say office supplies. So here I could just put it to my office supplies account. So now in the same exact window, I've affected my bank transactions and I've affected my vendor transactions. I could do customers, I can do payments, because if I do those, I can also apply some entries from this same exact window. So this is why I love this window so much. It's just a great way to be able to do multiple things in one window. So definitely go through, show fewer columns, show more columns. It's a great way to just do a lot of your transactions in one window. So I hope this video has helped you to understand the difference between that particular window. Thanks and have a great day.